first quarter. Now we in the fourth quarter, man.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter, where we're making sports business fun. My name is Sid Balaga. That's Suraj Paramanu, and producer Pablo's behind the screen. Big week for us. One of our clips last week from the pod, we posted on socials. It went viral.
Fourth quarter going viral.
Yeah, and so we had a couple of different videos, but one in particular, we're talking about Al Catterton and Patrick Hoff's new fund, about how athletes are investing, and it's about to be this new big $500 million fund. And Kyle Kuzma commented saying we were wrong, and then he put us on his story when we responded. So we got some motion.
Yeah, no. So essentially, we were saying that athletes got a ton of deal flow, a ton of motion, especially for consumer brands. And what Kyle Kuzma was saying is that that's not for all athletes. Now, Champs, the Patrick Hoff ex Al Catterton new fund, I believe they're looking for a $500 million commit. They're working with a lot of athletes that, are very prominent. They, big public figures. We're talking about Dak Prescott,
Kevin Durant, Cooper Flagg, Livy
even
Dunn.
like Livy Dunn, for example. But there's a lot of professional athletes that may not have that public presence, and so they don't get as much deal flow as them. And so it seems like Kyle Kuzma, based on his comments, that he's building something for athletes that may not have that deal flow to get access into these next generation or these generational private companies.
Yeah, it was called Oath Group. And has like 500 followers. There's no posts on that Instagram page. And he said, we're cooking up something. So
yeah, so it's kind of in stealth and might be emerging.
Yeah, Kuz, if you're listening to this, when you're ready, come on the show and announce it. This is your open invite right here.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be sick. That would be, if Kyle Kuzma was our first guest for the show, like, well, look, we're trying to get guests on at some point in time, but if it's Kuzma
we're
first,
in no
that'd
rush,
be awesome.
right? Well, I feel like we'll have a pretty good
you're
guest
still
list.
good company, but once I get a little bit bored, then we might have to get
That's
some guests.
crazy, man. That's crazy. Okay, so we are going to just dive right into this run of the show. But before we did that, we've been sending the show around to a few of our friends close to us to get their feedback. And we haven't publicly launched this. So if you're watching this right now, you're early. You're an insider into the T4Q-verse. This is our version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We got the newsletter, then we got socials, and then we have the podcast.
Yeah. So you're an insider. And we asked our friend Marlon Primos at
776.
Yeah,
Alexis
or
Ohanian's
Primos.
fund.
Yeah, I actually maybe I need to ask Marlon how to say his name. But he works at 776, which is Alexis Ohanian's venture fund, and he had some great pieces of advice for us and things to fix. But one thing he said is that we can be better explicitly stating each section in the run of the show, and sometimes it doesn't seem like there's like a concurrent theme and structure. So like I'm gonna be more explicit in the run of the show this time.
Yeah, I mean, he has always great advice. It's also good to get some feedback from some of our close friends, but we actually do have a structure in place, but we'll make it more apparent for this.
Yeah, it makes sense in our head, but now we're going to be more explicit. So we start off with a headline story. This week, we're talking about Google. They launched Fitbit Air, which is a competitor to Whoop. They're launching at a much cheaper price. They have Steph Curry involved. Sundar Pichai, Google's CEO, is teasing it all over X. We're going to dive in because that might be a direct competitor to the $10 billion valuation that Whoop just hit. After the headline story, we talk about something fun. It's a cultural business headline that most people probably don't know about.
Zeitgeist. Yes, in the cultural zeitgeist.
In the cultural zeitgeist. And I think it's something that people don't know much about, but if they knew about it, they'd find it interesting. So this week, we're talking about Drake, the legendary rapper. He owns a professional Italian soccer team in Serie A, and that team, Venezia
so
FC,
it's based in Venice.
just raised $120 million around there in funding. So we'll talk about that, what the future is.
And what's cool about that deal is that Drake was bringing in investors. Like he was essentially bringing in co-investors from the finance space. So that's really interesting.
100%. Then we move on to team and league news. So basically the latest sports business news surrounding sports teams and leagues. We have two big ones. Fanatics has acquired a long-term licensing deal with FIFA and FIFA World Cup starting in 2031. They're taking it from Panini.
Yeah.
The legendary, I guess, like historic
They've had
collectibles.
FIFA for 60 years too. And so this is going to be a massive change. I believe Panini has till the 2030 World Cup, and then it's
two more cycles left, and then it's over. And then World Surf League. So a sports league most people probably haven't heard of, even though it's been around for 50 years. They just had their best year, and now they're up for sale. So we'll talk about that, what that might look like. If any potential bidders or buyers are watching.
I have a few ideas in mind that I do want to share.
Okay. All right, great. Sports real estate has never been hotter than it is now, so I feel like it's only right that we included a sports real estate show or segment of our show. The Buffalo Bills are building one of the most expensive publicly funded NFL stadiums. So they're about to debut that this fall. Thought we'd cover it and share the latest progress there. After sports real estate, we have an emerging sports leagues and teams section. This is, I think, one of the fastest growing sectors in the sports space. It seems like every week we have a new sports, at least a sports league announced or emerging sports league announced, or people that want to, some news that is about, coming out about these emerging sports leagues. So this week we're talking about Enhanced Games, the Peter Thiel backed, essentially Olympics competition with the athletes on performance enhancing drugs, which is wild. They just went public via SPAC, which is a special purpose acquisition vehicle or company. So a lot to talk about there. Their debut event is about to come up. They already went public without a debut event yet.
Yeah, I don't think they have like a lick of revenue, but their first debut event is at Resorts World in Las Vegas, May 24th. So that's something that Sid and I are going to tap into. It's actually fully free streaming. Like you can get it on, you can watch it on YouTube or wherever.
Roku, right?
In Roku as well. But it's really interesting because it's a league, but their main product isn't going to be the league. So we'll get into that.
We'll talk about that. That's super exciting. And then after a few sections of straight knowledge hitting your dome, we thought it'd be fun if we broke it up with a cultural spotlight section. So spotlighting people that are doing cool things in the sports zeitgeist. I don't know. It's not really cultural zeitgeist.
I realize is that in the sports business space, especially, like not that many people like are like really bantering or going back and forth. Typically what you would see in the Twitterverse and the tech scene or the finance scene. So we figured we'd bring it to sports business and shout out the people that are doing awesome work in our space, whether it's a LinkedIn top voice or someone building their own media platform. We'll shout you out on this show.
Yeah, so for this week, former NBA Rookie of the Year Michael Carter-Williams teamed up with two guys, Daniel Sung and Carter Wan, to start a company that helps pro athletes launch and run their professional brands on LinkedIn. Honestly, a genius idea. I don't know why we haven't thought about that.
I know.
Right?
So I'm excited to dive into that and give Michael Carter-Williams and team a proper shout out.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I think there's a lot of cool things to talk about there. Then we have M&A and major investments. So University of Michigan was one of the earliest backers of a small AI lab. That AI lab is now known to the world as OpenAI. Their $20 million investment precedes Microsoft's investment into OpenAI, and that investment's roughly marked up at about $2 billion. So we're going to talk about what that might mean for the UMich athletic department, how that might be revenue coming to the school that they can be deployed across their sports kind of ecosystem.
Yeah.
Then we're shifting to what is now becoming everyone's favorite section, the new fund alerts, where we cover new investment funds that are building and being announced at the intersection of sports, media, entertainment, and
guys,
wellness.
it's every week. I'm telling you, every week there is a new fund.
11 straight weeks now, including this week. We had 2 this week. So
yeah, this is going to be a good one because it's 2, not just one.
Not just one. Yeah, so another new fund alert there. And then in the world of sports startups and technology, we're talking about Aescape, Tom Brady and Logan Paul's backed robot massage company. They just became insolvent, and they just raised $83 million last year, which I thought was going to be a rocket ship. I was super bullish on it.
I mean, we actually wrote about it because it was a big deal when Tom Brady was named Chief Innovation Officer. So we'll get into our thoughts there.
Yeah.
Maybe how Aescape can be used long-term, maybe the technology, but not the company itself.
Yeah, there's some weird like spin-off, starting a new company, acquiring the assets for, cents on the dollar. So, well, a lot of cool things to talk about there. After that, we normally talk about cool partnership news. So companies that you wouldn't expect to partner together that are partnering together. As the FIFA World Cup ticket prices keep going up, fans are getting priced out to actually going to the physical games. And Fox Sports and Cosm are partnering to present 40 matches of the FIFA World Cup in the coming months in shared reality on the Cosm kind of eco theater.
They're like
the
mini
3D
spheres.
theater.
We'll get into the technology and also why we think this is a huge move by Cosm, and why it's kind of funny during the World Cup, ticket price debacle, how they can capitalize on it.
Brilliant on Fox too. Fox is continuing to just make noise around this World Cup.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to recap the show with a new segment, which I think is going to be one of our best segments going forward, called AP Prediction Markets. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in prediction markets. We're going to take away all of the noise, make sure we're giving you only the signal, and it's going to be presented to you by ours truly, Professor Paramanu.
Professor Paramanu in the cut. I'll break down everything prediction markets related and how it's affecting the sports business landscape. Obviously, you can make predictions outside of sports, but let's be real. Sports is such a massive part of the whole prediction markets, whether it's trading volume, whether it's deals being made between leagues, teams, and the markets itself. We'll get straight into it. And here's the thing. I sometimes like to make things a history lesson. We're going to be short and succinct for this
This is
one.
a crash course.
This is the crash course for prediction markets.
I love it. Okay, let's dive right in. Our headline story. Last Thursday, Google quietly declared a war on a $10 billion company, Whoop, and they have Steph Curry on their side. Google unveiled the Fitbit Air. So it's a $99.99, so roughly $100 standard edition. And Steph Curry was co-building a Steph Curry special edition, which is going to be retailing at $129.99, so $130. So how it works is there's a subscription component to Google Health Premium that's starting off at $99 per year as well. Here's the thing. It's actually cheaper than Whoop. You're having Gemini, which is Google's AI LLM that's being infused as your health coach here. You have Steph Curry, one of the biggest names in all of sports, being an ambassador. He was apparently wearing this since January, quietly during his games, collecting data. I think he wore it during the All-Star game, NBA All-Star game as well.
Yeah, I think for training and recovery, you're technically not allowed to wear
during
a wearable during the game.
Yeah. So just some quick highlights. It's a couple grams. It's screenless. It tracks all of the things that Whoop also tracks, HRV, sleep stages. It has up to a 7-day battery. 5-minute fast charge gives you a 1 day of life, which is kind of wild. And it's also water resistant. I mentioned the Google Health Coach. It's all-in-one fitness trainer, sleep coach, and health and wellness advisor. This is, I think, really cool. It looks, the pictures, producer Pablo, you're going to have to put this up. The pictures look very identical to a Whoop.
Yeah, it's like literally, it's essentially, look, screenless wearable band. That's essentially what Whoop got famous for. And so Google Fitbit Air is essentially that similar product, but with the same capabilities. And so everyone's essentially saying, like, look, this is just a better Whoop, but a lot cheaper.
You know what I think we should actually do? I think we need to do this for science. I think we need to buy it and we need to compare the two.
Compare the two, yeah. So I got a few takes on this because this has been blowing up on my timeline, especially because I'm a Whoop user and I've been using it for a couple of years now. And
Same. We need to get Whoop as a sponsor or Google Fitbit, whoever's first, right?
Whoever's the winner. But one thing that's interesting is that a lot of people are saying that Whoop is dead after this, right? I was seeing Nicole De Tomaso, a VC investor at Harlem Capital, was essentially saying
she's super vocal in the online venture community, right?
Exactly. And she said Google just single-handedly killed Whoop and Aura's business models in 1 day. I would say less of Aura because that's a ring. And even if they have the same capabilities, let's be real, there's a important fashion element to it where some people want to either wear a ring or a band. But this is very much like a Whoop versus Google Fitbit situation. Now, here's my take. I think that even if Google Fitbit Air is a better product than Whoop and cheaper, I still think that Whoop will be a very dominant force in the market.
I thought you were about to drop a very, very hot take or like a banger take. I agree with you. I think you could have gone more extreme on the take.
Yeah.
Okay, so some more context on to the virality component of this. Okay. So Google CEO Sundar Pichai made a tweet that went semi-viral, basically teasing Steph Curry's version of the ban. Steph Curry interacted with the tweet. Everyone's like, well, what's happening? A few hours later, they announced it. Okay. And then after that, there was kind of like a mini online feud and beef that was going on. So Whoop's CEO, Will Ahmed, tweeted on X that basically saying, don't bother copying us. We're still winning. And engraved on the Whoop's like chip was that exact
quote. They've had that engraved for a couple of years now, actually.
Yeah. So producer, probably you're gonna have to pull this up because it's actually really fascinating. And then a day later, Whoop announced on-demand video consultations with licensed clinicians in-app. So they're actively starting to push stuff out now. They see that there is a true competitor in the kind of band space. Just for some data, okay? I'm not going to tell you how big this market is. I'm going to tell you how fast it's growing. So screenless wearables sales grew 88% year over year between 2024 and 2025. I think in general now, I'm seeing more people wear Whoops. It's kind of like almost like a bracelet now like a universal bracelet at this point, right?
It's like an accessory that you can wear. Like it has some fashion element to it that I think a lot of people are emboldened by, especially because there's some sense of community being developed within the Whoop ecosystem. And so this is what I was trying to say about why I think, and a lot of people are just like, Whoop is dead, Whoop is cooked. That was like kind of like the consensus. There was a few people like
you mean
me,
consensus online?
consensus online,
Okay.
especially on X. Now I was along with a few other people defending Whoop because I think that even if the utility is better for a Google Fitbit Air, I think Whoop has such a dominant force in the market because of the way that they've marketed and the brand premium that they've built with the athletes that they've worked with, the sports partnerships that they've made. So the way that Whoop was actually developed was they worked with the trainers for guys like LeBron James and Michael Phelps and really used athletes as the main form of distribution. And it wasn't ever like, hey, we'll pay these athletes as ambassadors, or hey, you get an equity stake in our company in order for you to like go and market it and campaign this. It was, hey, we're building a product for you guys and we hope you use it. And most of the elite athletes have been wearing it. Guys like LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo, Rory McIlroy. I was actually watching Inside the NBA last night after the Cavs came back and beat the Pistons in overtime. And Donovan Mitchell, he's wearing a Whoop while he's talking to Kenny, Shaq, and Charles Barkley and EJ. What we've seen is that Whoop has taken over the elite athletes, and essentially Whoop and elite performers go hand in hand. At the same time, in 2026, they've made major partnerships with Ferrari, PSG. They just did a deal with the Boston Red Sox this week. At the same time, they have an official deal with the PGA and PGA Tour, which makes sense because Rory McIlroy is big time user and at the same time an investor as well. And so what they've done is that they've capitalized on this market of elite athletes, and that's built this brand premium where even if there's like a small marginal benefit of using Google Fitbit Air for your health tracking, there's functionally a unique community that you're a part of buying Whoop. So I think that's going to be a powerful competitive advantage that's going to be hard for Google Fitbit to beat out, but that Steph Curry partnership will help in that movement.
I agree, and I think Whoop has built the team and league partnerships as well as athlete partnerships to kind of create this moat. But I'm going to give you a pure like price breakdown of Whoop versus Fitbit, okay? So over a 5-year horizon, Whoop peak, the most top tier pricing is $239 per year. Okay, over 5 years, that's $1,195. Fitbit Air plus premium is $99 for the device, and then $99 per year. That's $594 over 5 years. The Air saves a user over $600 over 5 years versus Whoop. Okay, so I'm also thinking, yes, there's, there's probably a pure, brand moat, athlete moat comparison that you can do, but you're appealing to a different segment of users when you're economically pricing it a little cheaper and giving, the same, if not better, technology and health and benefits. So I think it's interesting. I mean, to your point though, I think Whoop doesn't have much to worry about. I think they should be looking into defending market share, doing more team and league partnerships, integrating further into the sports, landscape to create that like brand, just like, affinity, everlasting affinity within the space. Because we'd known this. People like Nike, we talked about Nike's Fuel band that have tried to come and have gone. They
actually predated the Whoop and they still failed.
Okay, I didn't know this, but I was doing research. Amazon Halo, right? They tried to compete with Whoop, discontinued.
Very similar price point to the Google Fitbit Air. I believe it was like $65 to $100 just for the device, a $4 monthly membership, way cheaper than Whoop has ever been. And they discontinued in less than 3 years. I believe the last one that they manufactured was in 2023.
Yeah, exactly. And Google bought Fitbit in 2021 for $2.1 billion and basically did nothing with the hardware for a while now. And then a few weeks ago, we have Whoop announcing a $10 billion valuation. Google's like, oh, there's like an actual hardware play here. Let's restart this.
I actually think
plug in Gemini. Right?
Gemini is like the game changer here, right? Because AI just unlocks so many health benefits in regards to monitoring and tracking your data. So I think what they realize is, okay, now we can really capitalize. Also, Gemini is I'm going to consider it a god tier consumer product. So at the same time, can you capitalize on that and build these health platforms, right? Because they also have a Google Health Coach that Steph Curry was working with. That's essentially how he got into the Google mix.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that there's something that they can build upon here. And overall, I think Google Fitbit Air can hit a mass market, but I think there's going to be a premium community that will always exist where people who want to spend a lot more money on longevity, because let's be real, consumers are spending less and cutting back on everything but their health and wellness. And so they feel like, hey, look, I'm getting something better. I'm getting something that aligns me with the best athlete performers in the world, the best sports teams in the world. I'll still buy the Whoop. So I think it'll be like a duopoly in the market for obviously screenless.
I mean, there's Aura
bands,
too.
because there's
so-
Aura too. But I'm saying for the
Triopoly?
screenless, for the bands.
Oh, yeah. Fair.
Aura, I think, is honestly a little bit of a separate category for itself.
And they're crushing too.
Because their demographics are flipped too. There's more women that wear Aura rings and Whoop, it's 55% men. And then I think Aura is like 55% female. So similar but kind of different products.
The last thing I wanted to talk about on this is Shripal Shah, one of the leading voices in AI in sports, recently said this on a sports podcast, that that leagues should integrate deeper with these AI models and figure out a deal where players wear these wearables and data can be published publicly. So just food for thought. I think this is an interesting concept, right? Like, I don't know. I think it's a little fascinating.
I think leagues should partner up more with wearables.
And then
because I
publish
think
the data?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think that's fundamental. Like, you take a thought leadership position within sports and accelerating athlete performance long term.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to their cultural sports headline, Aubrey Graham, aka the legendary rapper
Champagne Poppy.
Champagne Poppy,
A legend.
helped his pro soccer team, Venezia FC, raise $118 million in funding. Venezia FC is a pro Italian soccer team based in Venice that competes in Serie A, the top tier professional football league in Italy. Drake's a co-owner. He's helped bring in investment led by Tim Lewicki. I think that's how you say his name.
Lewicki?
Yeah. The CEO of Oakview Group, a sports stadium real estate giant. He was also the previous CEO of Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, who operated the Toronto Raptors, which I think was, that's how they met, Drake and Tim. So Tim was appointed the co-chair of the operating committee of Venezia FC alongside Rob Hamwee. And then Francesca Bodie was appointed the president of Venezia FC.
She's also a former executive at Oakview Group.
Exactly. And she's the only female club president all of Serie A, which is super interesting.
A legend.
A legend for sure,
A legend
Pablo.
for sure, Pablo.
A new stadium is being built in the city of Venice as well for the team with public financing of around $108 million. It looks super beautiful. You were showing me a picture of it, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, even the old stadium is beautiful too because it's right next to the water. This new stadium, I think they're trying to build this essentially mega complex where it's not just a soccer, it's not just a massive soccer stadium. They're also going to have a bunch of basketball courts, a bunch of fields as well. Fundamentally, your entire sports mega complex.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a great investment because Venice, still has a really strong tourism potential. Obviously, there's people, risk with the water rising. I don't know. I've been reading that somewhere where people are like, oh, Venice is going to go, it's not going to exist in 100 years or something. But
wait, Venice is the city with the water canals.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. And so
super interesting.
It's a beautiful city. I've never been there
been?
before,
Okay. Yeah,
but I've always wanted to go. I actually had a painting in my dorm room of, I think of Venice, but from famous.
Okay.
It gets 25 to 30 million tourists a year. Okay. Obviously, when you go to a new city, especially in Europe, there's some inclination to go to a European football game. And so I think they can really capitalize on this. At the same time, they're really doubling down on aesthetics. Actually, Drake has a collab with Nike called Nocta.
Yep.
So it's essentially its own subcategory within Nike that's that Drake runs. And that's the main partnership for the kit design.
It's the front of kit sponsor, right?
Exactly. Front of kit sponsor. So it says Venezia FC and then it says Nocta. They're
That's
actually
cool.
so clean. And they're kind of expensive kits. So it seems like there's
You
a
can
lot
buy
of
them
hype
right
around
now?
it. Yeah, I'm actually thinking about buying one, honestly.
You might need to buy one. That might be producer Pablo's Christmas present. So
Yeah, honestly. Pablo, are you a big Venezia fan?
Yeah, and I just wanted to, before you guys move on, correct you. It's actually pronounced Venezia.
Oh my.
wow.
Okay.
I wanted to see
okay.
you guys get flamed in the comments.
Producer Pablo.
We
you
do
should've-
get flamed in the comments for mispronouncing
Yeah,
things.
producer Pablo, you should have interrupted us way sooner. Okay, so we'll hopefully that doesn't go too we don't get too beat up in the comments with that one. Just some cool things before we move on. Serie A broadcast rights are worth nearly $1.6 billion per season, which I thought is super interesting. And then American PE firms are bidding on the kind of like a new media rights entity valued up to $1.9 billion. Over half of Serie A is now under foreign control. So nearly 25% of all professional Italian football clubs are now foreign owned, mostly by American investors, which I thought was pretty interesting. And some precedents and comparables are that Redbird owns AC Milan, obviously. So I don't know. It seems interesting that there's more of this like institutional American executives, ownership groups coming in to take, Italian stakes in Italian teams. I think it's a little fascinating.
Yeah, and
Makes sense. There's a formula.
producer Bob, it's Venezia.
Yeah, it should be Venezia.
Venezia. Okay, Venezia
Venezia.
or Venezia.
Yeah.
So
Who's saying it better, producer Pablo?
is Sid saying it better?
Let's hear it again.
Okay, Venezia FC.
Venezia. I'm
No,
gonna say
you're
the
just
same
copying
thing
me.
as you.
You're
Yeah,
saying
because
something
that
else.
sounds right.
I mean, both of you are saying it better now, so that's what matters.
Okay, we're
Okay.
gonna go with that. Venezia. They actually just got promoted this
Yeah.
year, so they were in.
They were
Serie
going
B.
back and
They
forth
were going
for a
back
while,
and
right?
forth, so they're back in Serie A. Maybe this injection of capital will help them be able to stay afloat and stay in the Serie A for a long period of time. Hopefully, become a competitive club as well, because that'd be pretty cool if Drake, as a co-owner, is able to make some moves. And honestly, you might see some more Venezia kits everywhere if that's the case.
Put him in a music video. Could be some cool like Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
type integrations that he did with Wrexham. Obviously, could be some cool stuff.
Merchandise sales might be going crazy in Toronto.
No, I agree. All right, moving on to team and league news. Starting in 2031, Fanatics and Topps are taking over every World Cup card, sticker, and digital collectibles on the planet. Fanatics has signed a long-term exclusive licensing agreement covering trading cards, stickers, trading card games, and digital collectibles across all FIFA tournaments. The products will be developed by Fanatics Collectibles and produced under the Topps brand. 60 years. That's how long Panini and FIFA have had their licensing agreement together.
Yeah, and it's been a real revenue generator too. I was reading a number that said they were expecting to generate $1.5 billion in World Cup collectibles for 2030.
Yeah, exactly. Each World Cup cycle, it's $1.5 billion. So I think it's interesting. And then last week, obviously, Fanatics came in and swooped it. Michael Rubin said this is a great day, a historic day within Fanatics' ecosystem. I think this is the next era of Fanatics and Fanatics Collectibles takeover. They obviously started with the acquisition of Topps in 2022, and then they've become the collectibles licensor for the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, Premier League, and WWE, and obviously now FIFA. They're
Pretty
just,
much every major league in the world. They also have the Premier League as well,
Yeah.
I believe,
And-
and Champions League too.
Yeah, and they're innovating too. They're not just doing the pure like deal play here. So Fanatics will bring its debut patch program to soccer, which is basically taking the game worn, game worn jerseys, cutting them up, and inserting them into cards. I think it's super fascinating.
Topps has always been famous for that, right?
Exactly.
And so I think this is going to be a huge boost in the value of those collectibles as well. Fanatics will obviously be able to accelerate demand given that they have such a strong ecosystem. They have the data play, understanding fandom to its core. And at the same time, they got people ripping packs on Fanatics Live. They're the ones that are able to build hype. They do a lot of partnerships with the athletes, with the leagues. I remember for NFL draft, right? They had all the rookies sign the card.
Yeah.
And Michael Rubin was there at draft day. So that type of level will obviously be extremely powerful for FIFA as well. I will say it's a bit unfortunate for Panini. They've been losing multiple licensing deals to Fanatics over time. They're actually in a legal battle right now.
with
Panini,
Fanatics.
Yeah, Panini has sued Fanatics. This has been going on for a couple of years now, since 2023. It's essentially antitrust fight. So Panini is essentially saying that Fanatics is operating with anti-competitive behaviors, and actually Fanatics countersued because a federal judge said that, hey, you have to give up like certain like documents between like the actual contracts that they made with the leagues and with these sports properties, and they're like, hey, that's a way to like get into like our trade practices. So that's like unfair. That's really why they're doing it. It's not because they actually believe we're a monopoly. So we're going to continue to see that fight. My favorite part about this entire situation is that it's classic Michael Rubin deal making that we're seeing right now. When, I don't know if you guys all remember this, but when Fanatics bought Topps, there was something that he did right before that actually was such a strategic move, where Topps was really relying on their MLB and MLB PA deals. Fanatics was the one who's, went kind of like did it in a sneaky way, like strategic. Obviously, you don't want to tell your competitor that you're doing this.
Yeah.
But they swiped the MLB and MLB PA rights, and this is at the same time that Topps was about to go public via SPAC for about $1.3 billion valuation. But once that hit the public and everyone found out that they're not going to have the MLB, which is like their main revenue generator, the valuation, or they had to cancel the SPAC. And eventually they ended up selling to Fanatics for only $500 million.
Which is still a lot of money.
Which is still a lot of money, but now Fanatics was able to not only get the MLB licensing, but they were also able to get one of the biggest players in the collectible space for literally less than half the price that they were going to go public for. What if we see this with Panini as well? Panini is actually actively looking for a buyer, and they just swiped FIFA, which was their most powerful licensing deal that they've had. They just swiped it after 2030. What if we see Fanatics buying Panini long term?
That might be some. I mean, it's interesting, right? I don't know if that'll go through though. That
might be actually anti-competitive because then there literally is only
owning
one
the market,
collectibles
right?
player. Yeah.
I mean, you're right though. Like Panini is being forced into a structural pivot. So they used to own all of the licenses for the U.S. major leagues, and now they're shifting to kind of European domestic leagues and then women's sports and then unlicensed NFL products. So they just signed with the NWSL, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. And I think so, right? The NWSL.
I think it's the NWSL. I could be wrong, but don't they have a partnership with the WNBA?
They might be.
Because I remember seeing an article about how Aja Wilson had like a specifically like unique Panini card. I could be wrong, but
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
As of last year, November of last year, they had.
So I think they're
WNBA
making like an
license.
emerging league play. Maybe
Which I
Panini
think is fascinating.
goes and gets IPL. Maybe that's something that they should do.
Big market there, which we
Yeah.
just talked about last week. So this is cool though, because Fanatics, you laid the foundation there. Fanatics bought Topps in 2022. That was a business from in 2024. Fanatics Collectibles did around $1.6 billion in revenue. They're projected to do $3 billion this year. There's 40% year-over-year growth, right, from 2024 to 2025. EBITDA margins are greater than 20% in the collectibles space, and that's the highest margin unit in the entire Fanatics portfolio.
I think it's
huge.
their best business line by far.
I
Like
think
the
there's a
most
lot of innovation that's happening.
There's just
there
a lot
too.
of innovation that's happening there. I think their last valuation was around like 10, 11 billion just for the collectibles business.
I mean, shout out Josh Klein, our friend of the show, obviously, running our global expansion there, I believe, and Nick Bell, one of the best leaders that I've ever got to talk to, who's leading their Fanatics Live and Fanatics Collect pursuits. So very cool to see. I'm excited to see what else they continue to do. But we have to move on to the next league. And
Yeah.
most people,
Most people think it's emerging, but it's existed for 50 years.
It's been around for 50
Yeah.
years, and they just recently had their best year, supposedly. So the World Surf League is up for sale, and it has hired merchant and investment bank Rain Group to help advise on the sale. For those that don't know, because I had to do a lot of research, candidly, as well for this, I wasn't tapped into the World
You're
Surf
not a big
League.
surfer like that?
And, being in landlocked New York City, I don't think I was, primed to be, the surfer
Primed to
with
be a
the,
surfer,
with the
yeah.
blonde hair. But yeah, the World Surf League is the global governing body for professional surfing. It's founded in 1976, and it organizes annual competitive circuits across multi-disciplines, including shortboard, longboard, and big wave events. Billionaire Dirk Ziff has been propping this thing up for about 13 years now. And after Olympic inclusion, a streaming era refront and reformat, and what the league called its best year, Ziff is now testing the market to see whether there is a potential acquisition. So Sportico broke this news, and here's some cool materials that they got from the investor deck. There's 80 million annual viewers across linear and digital, 1.3 billion social media consumers. Both numbers are up 40% year over year. The average World Surf League fan is 38 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty young. very much compared to all the linear TV watchers for the NBA or the NFL.
Okay, what's the oldest? We were just talking about this. Like the average NFL fan is what, 50 plus, right?
I think it's 50 plus. I think the NBA for linear, it's like
49.
I think it's
48?
like it's something that ends with a 9. I think it's 59. I could be wrong.
No way. Producer Pablo, can we search
I'm not gonna
this up?
lie. I mean, think about it. Like probably one of the most populous generations in the U.S. I think is Gen X and Boomers.
No, it's
right?
okay. It's 47 to 56.
Okay, so not 59. That might
Yeah,
be too
and
old.
Amazon Prime's video for streaming games.
But that's
NBA games,
Amazon Prime
it's
Video.
46,
That's
47.
streaming. We're not even talking about broadcast. Linear is definitely older. It's got to be.
No, NBA is roughly 50 years old. It's not 59.
Okay.
It's lower.
It's lower, yeah.
The NFL is 54, MLB is 60. But still, regardless,
Yeah, 38 is actually
is
relatively
shockingly
very young,
low,
yeah.
right? Which is great. It's a super sought after kind of demographic. 77 of World Surf League.
This is my favorite This is my favorite stat.
70. I agree. 77% of World Surf League Instagram followers don't follow any other major sports league on socials.
It's like a completely untapped market where it's people who might not actually have like a sporting background or interested in sports overall, but they do find surfing fascinating. Maybe they're just, I mean, I know a few surfers, and honestly, like the only sport that they care about is surfing.
This is like what you want as a league
Yeah, you want
executive, right?
extremely loyal fans.
Like a cult-like following, then you can like sell and build that base, and it just, you have a following, right? So like Sportico said potential buyers could be media companies, existing sports organizations, private equity firms, or even wealthy individuals. I think ESPN and one of these bigger media companies might be an interesting play, right? They did this
Right.
with an investment with the Professional Lacrosse League, PLL.
Yeah, the
Right.
ESPN I think also used to own X Games.
Exactly. So
I just think that the World Surf League, they've actually leaned away from going and distributing purely on linear platforms. They've fully focused on just a digital product that's accessible to many
as of recent,
which I think is the smart move and smart approach. They also get a lot of attendees to come to their tournaments or events. And what's really interesting is that you can honestly call these events premium and luxurious in a way because they're at like in Australia and Hawaii, right? Like in beautiful locations. I mean, people only surf in beautiful locations where it has this resort-like atmosphere. So what I was thinking is maybe Ari Emanuel's roll-up of luxury live
that's
experiences,
so good.
maybe he comes in and buys this because he already owns I think the U.S. Open of surfing in Huntington Beach. He has tennis as a major anchor with owning the Miami Open, the Madrid Open, Abu Dhabi Open, at the same time assets in the cultural space with Barrett Jackson, the luxury car auction space, at the same time Freeze, the massive art fair that's in London. So I think that this could be a really interesting collection in his arsenal because you're
That's a good
tapping
one.
into people who are like, I mean, if you're attending to some of these events in Australia, maybe like you're a big US fan, I mean, you're willing to spend a premium price to go and see the best surfers in the world. That's literally exactly what Mari is looking for.
I actually agree. You've changed my mind. I think Ari Emanuel and Mari might be a better acquisition.
And they already own US
than
Open of
ESPN.
surfing, right? It's
Yeah,
just like
it fits in their existing portfolio.
and they probably already have the operational experience working with that, or at least people on the team that do.
Yeah. In the world of sports real estate news, one of the most expensive publicly funded NFL stadiums in history is getting a primetime debut. The Buffalo Bills will launch and open their new Highmark Stadium, a $2.1 billion build-out with $850 million in taxpayer money baked in on Thursday Night Football on September 17th on Amazon Prime Video against the Detroit Lions. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. I think it's one of those new stadiums that's been getting worked on for a while. I think obviously Buffalo is not a big market, but the Buffalo Bills itself is, I mean, one of the best franchises that exists
one
right
of
now.
the best fan bases,
Fan
right?
bases in
They're so
in the
loyal
world.
to their
They're
team.
so loyal to their team. I believe that this marks a new. I think this officially marks a new era in U.S. sports, especially the major leagues, where you're seeing all these new development in sports real estate. This is this new stadium that everyone has been talking about for the past year or two.
Yeah.
Sports Business Journal literally reports this every single time something happens with the stadium. So I think it's exciting. I think a lot of people really enjoy it. I think they're going to have that premium experience that will be great for ownership, great for generating revenue. And yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, shout out to Mary Owen, friend of the fourth quarter and mentor to me personally, and friend
One of
course,
the OG readers of our newsletter.
of the fourth quarter. Her family used to own the Buffalo Bills. So it's awesome to see that they're continuing to crush. Just to share the public-private split, so the New York State is giving around $600 million towards this. Erie County is about $250 million. The Bills are doing $350 million, and the NFL is giving a $200 million loan to the team. So the capacity, it's about to be 60 to 63,000 seats, and then standing room gives it to a total capacity about 68,000 people. It's open air, and then 64% of the stadium is covered by canopy, and it's natural grass, not turf.
That's
which
pretty
is,
awesome.
Which is awesome. And I think this is something we'll continue to see as we dive further down into the sports real estate, news and sections. So Populous is the lead architect and design firm.
They design literally everything,
stadium, right?
Even internationally.
Yeah, so they're Kansas City based, and then has designed more NFL stadiums than any other firm in the world. They have 13 under their arsenal right now with 13 active NFL venues. So pretty cool. We need to have someone from Populous sit down sometime and give us a breakdown about it.
Fun fact about Populous, they're actually designing the new stadium for Venezia FC. That
No
entire
way.
complex. At the exact same time, Eden Gardens, the new mega stadium in the IPL,
IPL?
they're also designing that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That was a great pull.
It's a great place to go if you want to see the new stadium renderings. Like, what are they cooking up?
And
You can see it there.
they put this publicly on their website.
They put it on their website when it needs to be released.
Very cool. Moving on to the world of emerging sports leagues and team news. A SPAC just took a sports league public at a $1.2 billion valuation. And here is the thing. It hasn't had a single event yet. Okay? It doesn't have a media rights deal.
But will soon.
Yeah. It doesn't even have a media rights deal yet. And the kicker is that it's built on the legal use of steroids, peptides, and human growth hormones. Welcome to Enhanced Games. So it's essentially the Olympics where athletes are allowed to use PEDs, basically pushing what we know is possible with humans, enhanced humans, I should say. And they're under medical supervision, but they get to use performance-enhancing drugs like steroids, testosterone, peptide, human growth hormone, like I just mentioned. The inaugural event, you said this, May 24th in Vegas, right?
Yeah. So it's that weekend, May 24th weekend. So May
yeah.
21st to the 24th.
Yeah, that's right. And then there's kind of three main events. It's swimming, weightlifting, and sprinting. It's a prize pool of $250,000 per event winner and $1 million bonus.
Which is way more than the Olympics. That's like one thing that enhanced leadership says is like, hey, look, we are actively paying way more than you winning a gold medal at the Olympics.
How much do gold medalists win? It's like $38,000.
I think it's like $38,000, $37 to $38,000, and this prize pool I think is total of $25 million across all events.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating. There's $1 million bonus for breaking a world record. So there's a lot of incentives here.
That's the whole point. I think they're literally just trying to break as many world records as possible.
They want to see what's capable of the human
body. At the same time, do it in a very safe way. They're working with top tier athletes at the same time, top tier clinicians, teaming them up together and do it safely. And I was actually I think the CEO Max Martin, he was on FOS actually. He was doing an interview with Front Office Sports.
Yep.
And what he was saying is essentially like peptides or like these PEDs that actually are beneficial for recovery and should be used when an athlete gets injured in typical sporting events are not allowed to use it, which is actually worse for wear and tear on the body. But like because, it's a PED, you're not allowed to use it. And so what he was arguing is that this actually could inevitably be a safer league overall because you're using these products. And that's interesting. But here's what I think is the most like interesting move that they're trying to make here. Enhanced Games is really the marketing play, right? You're working with the top tier athletes. You're seeing what records can be broken using these products, but they're actually going to be selling these products through their, I think their Live Enhanced platform. So direct D2C telehealth platform. They're going to be selling HRT and TRT, so testosterone boosters, peptide supplements. I think their two brands are Longer Plus, so mainly for longevity, and then Stronger Plus if you're trying to get ripped at the gym.
And these are Enhanced Games owned product. Or
yeah, I believe. I mean, they're working with the pharmaceutical companies. They're actually getting the licenses to sell their own products. But at the exact same time, they're providing telehealth service as well. They have that team.
That's so smart. You have not just the product, but the distribution engine in like a very like sports following event like culture and kind of format. I think that's genius. That's like the NBA selling like NBA approved supplements or something like that, right? The NFL approves supplements or vitamins or something like that.
Exactly. I mean, it wouldn't make. I mean, for them, it's like such a drop in the bucket because they make so much money off of media rights. But here, like, they're not going to make that much off of media rights for a platform like this.
Everyone has been staying away from it. Brands are afraid to touch this right now. So like,
Yeah. So I think there's what I think they had a few. I mean, Roku is working with them.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, well, before you go, I want to just share this of how like the stock has performed really quickly, and then my favorite fact around this. So, Enhanced Games ticker ENHA rang the New York Stock Exchange last Friday, popped 21% out the gate, has since settled. Okay, it's currently down 40%, 47% roughly. It's
which
trading,
makes sense for a SPAC. That typically happens.
and look, it's trading around $7.60, a little around there as of this morning, but I think after the event, if it goes well, it could be a pop-up. So could be interesting to keep watching and monitoring. All right. It's free on Roku sports channels like we just talked about. And here is my favorite thing. So they have an all-star list of commentators that are commentating. And one of the main commentators who's going to be recapping this live is the man himself, Brian Johnson, the guy.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
the guy who is known to the internet as the world's best biohacker, the never die
The
guy,
peptide king.
the peptide king. I mean, all of this, right? So I don't think they could have picked a better person.
Yeah, I think
to
that's
commentate
perfect.
this.
I mean, honestly, Blueprint should just sponsor it. I know Cali Water is a sponsor, I believe.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, a lot
What's
of
Cali
sponsors.
water?
Cali, it's like cactus water.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like I don't know.
It's similar to like coconut water.
Yeah, but it's like
Does it
from
hydrate you?
cactuses. I think so.
What are the benefits? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, if
honestly.
there's if it helps with looks,
if it's
and
a
everything,
if it's a bio
potassium,
if it's a looks maxing drink, then
we
sure,
need it.
We need it.
we got to try it.
Shout out to Cali. Well, you should actually, if Cali Water is listening, send us a few.
Yeah, I'd love
a
to
few
try it.
packs. We'd love to try it. But essentially, I think what's really good about this is that they're trying to essentially target an audience that doesn't even really understand the peptide markets overall. Honestly, like you have to go through a rabbit hole of research in order for you to even consider using peptides, right? And so what he was saying is like, look, I could spend millions of dollars on meta ads to sell our peptide products, but it's just going to go to the people who already know a ton about peptides and are, it's essentially a much more competitive demographic to capture, which you still can through the Enhanced Games platform. But he was saying with Enhanced Games, I can reach as many people as possible. People are just interested in sports, who are interested in seeing world records being broken and care about athlete performance. They might not be as interested in peptides, but when they see, oh, it was actually these PEDs, these TRT products that are being used in a safe way, maybe that's something that I should consider.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to watch it and tune in.
I'm going to tune in for sure. If it's Brian Johnson commentating as well, that might be pretty hilarious.
Okay, I want to play a quick fun game with you on this. They don't have a title sponsor yet or none of the Fortune 500 companies have yet to touch and sponsor Enhanced Games. If you had to pick one, do you think what would you think? Who do you think would be the first sponsor? You think it's like a pharmaceutical company like Johnson & Johnson, or you think it's something like wildly different?
I don't think they need to advertise through a platform like Enhanced Games. I also think that no other peptide company like Roe, for example, would sponsor it because they're actively competing with them.
Yeah, fair.
So I think it's like a weird position to be in. I think it's got to be some sort of like supplements product. Maybe AG1 could be an interesting.
That's not Fortune
sponsor.
500, but
That's not Fortune. Yeah, it needs to be a mega company. All right. Honestly, I don't have a good one for you yet.
okay.
I'll think more into it. I'll bring it up in the next episode.
All right, maybe we got to bring that
When we
up once,
recap it,
once we
yeah.
recap the event. Okay, cool. In the industry spotlight, in the cultural zeitgeist again of people that are operating and building cool stuff in sports, we're giving it to 2014 NBA Rookie of the Year, Michael Carter-Williams, and two young guys, Daniel Sung and Carter Wan, who are helping him build Athlete's Pen. They somehow got Michael Carter-Williams as a advisor, investor.
I mean, he is a
co-founder.
LinkedIn top voice, so it makes sense.
It seems like he just popped up on my LinkedIn saying he made a LinkedIn like a few months ago, and now he's already making moves, super active on there. Okay, but very cool company. So Athlete's Pen is the first LinkedIn agency built exclusively for professional athletes, where they help ghostwrite and build a business presence on LinkedIn. Many athletes have a flashy lifestyle to show off their like life and how they're living on Instagram and some of these other platforms, but you and I have talked about this. We think LinkedIn has been a huge gap of where athletes can capture a professional side, build brand partnerships, investment opportunities, speaking opportunities. There's just so much potential to, I don't know, athletes expand their self on
Showcase their
LinkedIn.
business persona on the right platform,
Yeah,
right?
and
It doesn't make sense on Instagram, doesn't make sense
Yeah.
on TikTok, but it definitely makes sense on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and there's not enough of that. Now we're seeing more and more. Obviously, Sean O'Malley, the UFC
he has
legend,
he has a LinkedIn account.
just made a LinkedIn like a few weeks ago. But here's the cool thing, right? Like Fernando Mendoza played this perfectly. So he's posted his milestones in college on LinkedIn instead of posting them publicly elsewhere, right? And he leveraged that into official brand partnerships with LinkedIn itself, Taco Bell, Adidas, T-Mobile, Epic Games. But this is like the playbook. And I think these guys are building something really needed in the market for athletes. I think we'll see a lot more interesting athletes pop up, ones that we haven't expected.
It'll naturally generate deal flow for them as well because everyone's
Yeah.
going to see their business persona. We already follow a bunch of professional athletes that are consistently posting on LinkedIn's. I'm telling you, pro athletes, they post on Instagram, but they're becoming LinkedIn warriors.
100% agree. I'm surprised we haven't thought of this. So shout out to you guys, Athletes Pen, Connor, Daniel, Carter and Daniel. You guys come on anytime. And
shout out Michael Carter-Williams.
Shout out
obviously,
Michael Carter-Williams.
Former top 5 NBA draft pick.
yeah, no, he was 11th.
He was 11th? Okay.
I think so. I literally searched this up yesterday. Producer Pablo, we're gonna need a live fact check, but yeah, he was the first round with 11th overall.
Oh, okay, never mind. But 11th pick. But I know he played for the Sixers. I remember when I was playing 2K14 my career, and I got drafted. I was in that same draft class
with Michael Carter-Williams. Yeah, that's funny. In the world of M&A and major investments, this one is most interesting. I think it's one of my favorite ones that we've covered. It's a little more tech than it is sports, but it has sports kind of
underpinnings
and repercussions. So in 2015, the University of Michigan endowment cut a $20 million check to a nonprofit research AI lab that no one knew. And that lab ended up becoming OpenAI. Shout out to our friend Varun Rana, content creator, influencer in the kind of internet professional humor space, friend of ours here. He told us that we need to cover this, so shout out to you, Varun.
Yeah, he's a Michigan alum, so it made sense too.
Yeah, exactly. So the AI lab was OpenAI, like I just mentioned. So court filings made this public in the Musk versus Sam Altman trial. And that $20 million check is now worth reportedly $2 billion. Isn't that insane? That's
wow, 100x.
That's almost 10,000x pre-IPO, 9,900% return.
Wait, it was a $20 million check, and it's now $2 billion.
Yeah.
So 100x.
Why did AI give me a 9,900% increase then?
Well, that's percentage. I'm talking about 100x.
Okay, well, I'm saying 9,900%.
Percent, okay.
Percent
Gotcha.
return. Yeah. It's the best direct endowment investment of the modern era, which I think is super fascinating. And it just landed in the lap of a Big Ten department in the middle of a revenue sharing era. So what does this mean for the University of Michigan's athletic department? Do you think they're able to, once this is realized, do you think they're able to funnel some of this profits into building out what is already one of the most robust programs in all of college sports? Or like, how do you think this is, like, how does this impact Michigan's athletic department?
So I think that there's like potential, like, okay, once it gets realized when they IPO, yeah, you realize your investment. I was reading like an Essentially Sports article, and they were saying that maybe you can use this money for like NIL initiatives at the same time building out your athletic program. I think that's not going to be the case. Typically, when you realize these gains, especially an endowment does, a lot of that money just goes back into the next investments that they want to make. So I think that there potentially could be some underpinnings on, investing in the sports landscape for Michigan. But what I think it does say is that overall, University of Michigan is an absolute machine. And all these kind of things go together in regards to how they've been able to build such a robust program. At the same time, the endowment it's not only just about the investment that they made, it's the fact that they had access to this investment. There's these fundamental structural advantages that I believe that other universities will never be able to achieve, which I think puts them at a much better position from a sports perspective too, compared to, some of these other universities that don't get that access.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, like you mentioned, I think some of this money can go towards university projects like stadiums, fund scholarships, towards NIL, incoming student athletes. We'll see. I mean,
Yeah,
this
but
is-
they already have the dollars for
they
it,
got
I
the
feel like,
dollars. Yeah. So their current run rate on their athletic department is 266 million, which is
Wow,
wild.
that's actually wild.
Yeah. So you'll have, obviously this won't be the case, but if all $2 billion were to be allocated towards the athletic department, you'd have roughly 10 years of full athletic department operating budget. That's wild.
That's wild. Yeah.
It's cool. That's from one investment.
Yeah.
Right?
Just to win a national championship.
And that investment was before OpenAI's investment from Microsoft. So apparently
Yeah.
they're ahead of Microsoft in the liquidation stack. Somehow they're supposed to get paid out before Microsoft,
Wow.
which is wild, right?
That's wild.
So shout out to whoever made that investment there. That's pretty cool. Okay. Moving on, one of the best sections, one of my favorite sections, it is the new fund alerts.
Fund alert.
This week we have two.
Two of them.
Two of them, not one, two. A former VC at Imaginary Ventures, Parth Dalal, teamed up with an elite marathoner, Tom Black, to launch Outside Capital, a New York-based pre-seed and seed fund, writing checks up to $1 million in the next generation of heritage brands across sports, wellness, and fitness-centered technology. This is great.
Yeah. It was an announcement. Saw it on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So shout out to Parth and Tom. I think that you guys are going into the right space, obviously tapping into sports, but at the same time, consumer wellness, which overall as a market has been blowing up. I think that this is the type of new funds that you're going to see from a emerging tech and early stage perspective. These are the type of categories that they're going to look into. Part's background at Imaginary Ventures means he already has experience working consumer. For those who don't know, Imaginary Ventures was actually the VC fund that seeded Skims, which eventually got that investment from Thrive and is now obviously the juggernaut that Kim Kardashian and team has made it, become today.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he has that experience working with consumer products. Obviously, that's going to be a huge platform for sports and performance as well. Tap into it. I don't know. I think it's pretty awesome.
I agree.
And congratulations to that.
Congrats, team. Wisdom Ventures just closed a $77.7 million oversubscribed Fund 2, nearly 8 times the size of their debut fund, to back AI startups building in health, wellness, and human connection. This is a theme we've been seeing a lot, health and wellness and human connection.
Yep.
So the LP list includes people like LinkedIn's founder, Reid Hoffman, and the kicker, the U.S. Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, just signed as a senior venture partner, which I think is super fascinating. This is interesting. It's mostly a tech fund from Fund 1. They wrote early checks into OpenAI and Anthropic out of their $10 million Fund 1, which is kind of interesting.
Great access there.
Yeah, and they have 38 portfolio companies, including those, Function Health, Substack, just to name a few. And here's the cool thing. Okay, so fitness and wellness startups pulled in $2 billion across 44 deals in 2025 per Rock Health, and that moved from the 8th most funded digital health category to 3rd.
Yeah,
So,
and I think a lot
big
of it
macro
also has to do
tailwinds.
with Aura. They had that
Whoop, of course.
that $900 million investment round, obviously with Whoop as well. I believe Whoop was in 2026 though, so I don't know if it counted in that number, but
Sure.
I mean,
I'm saying macro
yeah, but the
tailwinds,
smart
right?
wearables overall, like some of these big juggernauts have raised a lot of capital because money wants to go into that space because it's longevity focused. That's the major tailwind we're seeing, especially within our generation, the new generation, and the overall focus health and wellness wise. One thing that I want to bring up with Wisdom Ventures, they invested in a company, a product that I actually use that not many people might not know about. It's this company called Opal. It's this app that you have that essentially blocks like social media on your phone. It's actually like a great product.
I'm sure it's a great app, but you're definitely not an effective customer because I see you on bypassing the locks all the time.
That's true. I do. I mean, look, it has like a ton of different like layers that you have to get through to like, hey, like I want to take a break and I want to check Instagram and TikTok. But hey, look, like our entire product's on Instagram and
Yeah, that's
TikTok,
true.
so I gotta
That's true.
I
I guess
gotta
it's
check out how
business
the
now,
fourth
right?
quarter Instagram is doing. But it's actually a dope product and it's cool. I didn't even know that it was venture backed, and it seems like Wisdom Ventures threw a check in there.
Cool. Shout out to the team. Moving on to startups and technology. Here's a sentence I didn't have on my 2026 bingo card. Tom Brady and Logan Paul's backed AI robot massage company Aescape just filed for insolvency and is winding down operations just after raising $83 million last year. Kind of wild, right?
Wild, because we also wrote about it. We were so hyped that
We were
Tom
so
Brady was
hyped about
involved.
it. Yeah.
I thought Aescapes were gonna be in every single I mean they had a partnership with Equinox, but I was like, hey, maybe they go tap into the NFL, the NBA, all of their training, athletic training, and also at the same time recovery for athletes. Easily a product that could be used, but I just think that it was too capital intensive. It was just a very expensive product to make. It actually looks sick. Producer
wanna
Bob,
try one.
we got to showcase the video of what it actually does.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be tough for us to try it now. Cause
No, so like, look, that's what I thought, right? I thought we're never going to see this again. But it looks like it might survive somehow through a series of a new company that's buying the IP of the existing company. So Aescape was bleeding cash originally. They were defaulting on loans from SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and they defaulted to a loan to Black Stag Lending, which is a distressed debt shop. What Black Stag did, we don't have to get into it too much, but they injected a $5 million lifeline to keep it afloat, and then they also filed for Article 9 foreclosure process. And exactly one bidder showed up during that process, and it was a new entity called Aescape Recovery Inc. They bid $16.625 million, and they basically got Aescape's, the robots, the IP, the partner contracts with the Equinox and the Four Seasons, the brand, and presumably the Tom Brady's protocol too.
the TB12 method. That's such a full blown protocol because he was big on
Health recovery.
and like massage
Yeah.
specifically too.
So we'll see. We don't know how this will look, but supposedly there were some things online saying that this new entity is doing much better and well. So maybe we'll continue seeing these things.
Could see these robots massaging people. Who
I
would have
love it.
thought? And Tom Brady's behind it.
Yeah. I mean, I
He's
don't
part
know.
of it.
Yeah. Or was part of it.
Was part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so cool partnership news. Fox Sports and Cosm announced a partnership to present 40 matches on FIFA World Cup 2026 in their shared reality venues. Obviously, Cosm is a immersive media experience. Here's the thing, though, right? Why I think this is fascinating. FIFA has historically, or at least for this World Cup,
I think it's just this World Cup,
yeah,
really.
for this World Cup, has been pricing out fans to attend the actual games. Like even some of my friends that have gotten tickets to go, they're, I'm like, how much is it? How much did you pay for that? And I'm like, my jaw is just on the floor. I'm like, no way.
It's an
you
arm
paid
and a
that.
leg.
Yeah. So fans are getting priced out to actually go to these venues in person, right, to watch these games. So now Fox partnered up with an immersive venue in Cosm where you're getting a very similar lifelike experience for much fraction of the price. Here's the thing before I give it off to you. $33,000 is what a Category 1 seat at the World Cup final is, okay?
33 bands. Wow.
President Donald Trump said he wouldn't pay for
He wouldn't
it
pay for he said he wouldn't even pay for one of the group stage games for like the price
because it was so expensive, right?
Because it was so expensive, yeah.
And now they signed a deal. Fox signed a deal with the 87-foot LED screen. Immersive.
Such a good move for
so
Cosm.
so smart.
Because I mean,
And Fox
and Fox as
Yeah.
well. I mean, producer Bob, we'll pull up what Cosm looks like for everyone to see if you aren't familiar. But I call them mini spheres. Essentially, like you can watch a sports game, but it's like extremely powerful LED technology where it almost feels like you're at the game, and at the same time they have like proprietary cameras, and at the same time angles specifically set up at these games where it feels like you're sitting courtside or you're sitting first row at the NFL or World Cup game. And so I think that type of experience will actually align with a lot of people, maybe even travelers who are coming who are like, hey, like I can't go and watch the game. Maybe I'll go to a Cosm instead. And this is what Cosm was building for. They were essentially saying, look, ticket prices at live experiences, especially in sports, are getting way too expensive. At some point in time, there's going to be a category of people who are like, hey, look, I don't want to go to the game, but I do love that experience being at the game, everyone cheering, everyone going crazy, etc. Why don't we just bring that in an immersive experience where, yes, you might not be at the game, and ultimately, being at the game, they're not saying that being at the game is worse than a Cosm. Let's be real. Being at the game is like none other.
Yeah.
But it can at least get close to experience, but at a fraction of the price. Huge for the World Cup. I think 40 games as well. I think they have quarterfinals and up to, so they have the finals as well. So
Wow.
I think these are going to be sold out. Very much a lot of demand for this. And it'll be a time, an event in the US where people will experience it first. Just get them in the door. Once you get them in the door and it's a great experience, because I've talked to people who've been to Cosms, they love it, but it's like, who's actually going, right?
Yeah.
Like the marketing, I feel like could be there. This is going to be a natural form of marketing. I think it will sell out.
This could be like a catalyst for lifelong fans and customers for Cosm.
Exactly. And especially because in the U.S. overall, ticket prices have continually skyrocketed. So
Yeah.
this is the position that Cosm wants to be in.
We don't know the average prices yet for what this will
Yeah.
look like.
It
but-
actually could get expensive.
Yeah.
But it will still be cheaper than.
But $22 was the average price for a Cosm NBA game to be shown. So like, you're showing the, tens of thousands of dollars for the tickets to something relatively more affordable. So interesting. Moving to our last section, I'm going to hand it off to you, Professor Paramanu, in the AP prediction
Professor
markets.
Paramanu in the cut.
Please don't give a history lesson. Please just give us a crash course on this.
Yes. So
What are all the things that we should care about regarding prediction markets that happened this past week?
Absolutely. So this is your AP prediction markets professor here. We're going to give a little crash course on what's going on a week-to-week basis. I see producer Bob. He's very much locked in. I see Sid locked in. So
We're going to need a whiteboard, and then
I do want to bring in a
glasses,
whiteboard
a
at some
beard for
point so
you.
we can like map out, the trajectories of all these different players. But
I mean, no one's going to understand you with your handwriting, but that's a story for another time.
okay, look, I'm left-handed, so it's kind of hard to write on the board when you're literally erasing what you're writing as you write. So, all right, so let's get into it. So a lot of big moves from the big players, Kalshi and Polymarket. We'll start with Kalshi. They recently raised $1 billion at a $22 billion valuation. We actually covered it, highlighted in our newsletter last week because it happened last Thursday. Huge deal because, one, we've never seen a fintech company that's hit a $22 billion valuation this fast, and a lot of it comes from the growth that they've been experiencing. Trading volume has surged 800% in the last 6 months. At the same time, volume has tripled from $52 billion to $178 billion in annualized trading volume. If you actually look at their growth in the last year, it's 32x, and you're hitting $180 billion in trading volume. At this rate, they could hit $1 trillion in no time. Their growth has been immense. A lot of people say that it's mainly based on sports, but one thing that they've been doing and one thing that they want to leverage that $1 billion for is to scale adoption across hedge funds, asset managers, prop trading firms, insurance companies. These are platforms that are going to be looking at things from making bets on politics, futures contracts for politics, the economy, etc. Things that are actually hedging investments that they've made across other platforms, not necessarily in sports. So it's another form of diversification. At the same time, you've been seeing all these other stocks like DraftKings and Flutter. Their market caps have been significantly decreasing over the period of time as Kalshi has been growing to $22 billion. Actually, DraftKings' entire market cap is roughly $4 billion, which is kind of crazy to see that at some point in time, like there was they were neck and neck. Like,
Wait,
I swear,
currently
like,
it's
almost
$4
a year
billion?
ago. So I think it's at $4 billion right now. Fact check me for a sec because things continue to fluctuate in this market. Second, Kalshi and MSG.
No, it's the market cap is $12 billion.
Oh, sorry, $12 billion. I don't know why I said 4. Sorry.
I think it was more than that, and it dropped 4.
It dropped $4 billion, I think,
maybe.
in market cap. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kalshi. So, but still, Kalshi is greater than DraftKings,
Which is wild. Right? Yeah.
Kalshi also made a partnership with Madison Square Garden. This is pretty cool. They're named the official prediction markets partner. The 6th-floor concourse at MSG will be renamed the Kalshi Concourse. At the same time, they'll have LED signage in the venue. At the same time, 7th Ave marquee. So when you're right outside MSG, there's that massive LED board.
Yeah.
We actually
we
saw it
that.
when we went to the Hawks-Knicks games. And you'll see advertising integration across MSG Networks, which is their local networks platform for the Rangers and the Knicks. This is what I call the Facebook method, where if you watch the social network, they talk about how Facebook will grow. If they couldn't get into one college, they would go to every other college around it. I think it's the same way of doing it with sports, right? It's hard to make a partnership with the NBA or with the NBA and the NFL, but you can make partnerships within the venues itself.
Yeah.
So you're still getting that marketing, that exposure
So
in
smart.
these marquee platforms. It's almost like the Knicks and Rangers partnered up with Kalshi because that's where they play. So really big move that they've made. Also a big move that MSG made. So congratulations to both parties. Also, Kalshi just announced a partnership with Nate Diaz, which is pretty dope. He's actually fighting in the Ronda Rousey Gina Carano card in Netflix at Intuit Dome. And I believe Kalshi, the green logo, will be on his shorts that he's fighting
Really?
in. So
That's wild.
pretty cool. Also, Nate Diaz is an absolute character. So
A legend.
what a partnership to be made.
A legend
Pablo
for
hit the
sure.
legend
A
button.
legend.
Nate Diaz is a legendary MMA fighter who made his name in the UFC and is now fighting at this card sponsored by Kalshi. They've also made some key power hires. some big ones, especially related to regulations and government. One, Tony Hannigan, he's now head of congressional affairs. Yes, they have a role for a head of congressional affairs, which
Wow.
makes sense because of all the lawsuits that they've been facing. You want to have some form of regulatory movement that's happening within your company and someone to lead that front. At the same time, working with Congress, because Congress is actively trying to make legislation to regulate prediction markets. And at the same time, they've also hired a chief compliance officer, Sudhir Jain, who's had a lot of experience with derivatives at JPM. And at the same time, the Naturals Futures Association. Fun fact, he actually led PrizePicks registration for their prediction markets focus FCM. So some big hires there. Polymarket has been making the news recently as well because they fully opened their US exchange to all iOS users. So now there's no waitlist, no invitation code. When they entered the market, I believe in October, or they got CFTC allowed them to come back to the US in October after their recent acquisition of, I believe it was a registered exchange that they had. You had to have a waitlist invitation code. It wasn't fully made public, but now it's like anyone can use the Polymarket platform. But their trading volumes have actually declined for the first time since August. They've been dealing with a few bugs when it comes to a technical overall to handle increased activity, but they're shipping a series of updates that will make trading faster and smoother than ever. That's a statement that a spokesperson said in a statement on Wednesday. So hopefully they're able to, get their trading volume back up so you can see, some competition between Kalshi and Polymarket in the US space. At the same time, I'll make this quick. Some legal government news that have been happening. Obviously, there's lawsuits every single day. We'll start with one. Native American tribe, Ho-Chunk Nation, out of Wisconsin. Federal judge ruled that the tribe has a likelihood of success in their lawsuit accusing Kalshi of violating the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. Essentially, you can't infringe on their casinos at Native American land. And this is something that you're going to see where can prediction markets be used in Native American land, or can that be used in a legal case for a state trying to regulate prediction markets? So that's a interesting update. At the same time, Kentucky passed HB 757, a prediction markets tax so broadly written it applies to any Kentucky resident placing prediction contracts anywhere in the country, not just within state borders. So literally, there's a gambling tax. They're trying to put a prediction markets tax, which wouldn't make sense because it's federal regulated exchange. It's not a gambling product. So we'll see if that's able to hold up in federal court. Next, Minnesota.
There's more?
I'm telling you, every single one. This is the last one. There was so many more, but this is an interesting one that happened, I think, yesterday. Minnesota legislature first to pass a prediction markets prohibition bill. First in the country to approve a bill to ban certain prediction market events contracts in the state. So SF 4760, any prediction market contracts based on sports, politics, war, weather, and other markets.
Wow.
Crazy.
I'm surprised you put all of that together in a short time.
Yeah, honestly, shout out to Events Horizon, one of my favorite subsects to read about prediction markets. He's pretty anti-prediction markets and makes it so apparent in his newsletter. I just care about the way that he compiles the news, and he does give interesting commentary. So actually worth subscribing, whether you're a prediction markets lover or hater. It's a great place to get the news.
I love it. If you made it this far, thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe, give us a like. It's still a tight-knit community because we have not announced
We haven't
our public
fully announced
launch
yet.
yet.
So
Yeah, so appreciate you a lot, and please give us any feedback, and we'll see you next week.